qualities. Leaders must have strong faith and character. Arcus turned to the bush and said that this is exactly what his son is now. The knight looked down and thought that the hero's only faith was money, but there was no point in talking about it. Lately, it was difficult for him to remain confident that this was bad. The man stood up and said that from now on, Xavier's job would simply be to look after his son. He grinned and added that the knight must always be with the Baron's heir. The swordsman looked at his master in surprise and, putting his hand to his chest, accepted the order. The blonde thought that even though the young man had revived the estate, he would never like this man. He remembered how in the past the Baron had asked Xavier what he wanted to do in the future to help him realize his dream. The boy blushed and replied that he wanted to become a knight who would protect the Baron. The man laughed and patted him on the head. Arcus smiled and said that the little boy who survived the severe frosts would become the strongest in the world. And so, the Baron gave him a wooden sword that he had carved himself, and this gift was destroyed by Lloyd Frontera. Then the Baron's son laughed at the blonde's dream of becoming a knight and stepped on the sword. Xavier entered the room and took off his coat. He looked to the side, where the Baron's broken gift hung on the wall. The main character smiled and thanked the guy for using the Frontera lullaby service. The young man sat on the bed and smirked that the swordsman had become dependent, and if he did not obey, the service would immediately stop. Xavier asked to start already. Lloyd began to read out another boring instruction, and under his voice the knight began to fall asleep. The blonde thought that he still saw another person in him. The gentleman who made his way into the mine, dug the earth and defended the estate deserved respect. The brown-haired man snapped his fingers with a smile and said, "Red Sun." The knight fell asleep hugging the pillow. He hated himself for considering the young gentleman a worthy person. The moon was shining in the sky. The hero was sleeping in bed and the swordsman in a chair. Suddenly, the silhouette of a man with a sword appeared in the open window. He looked at the sleeping Lloyd with hatred and drew his sword. The offender gritted his teeth and thought that the young man was to blame for everything. The man jumped up and raised his sword to attack. At that moment, Xavier jumped